Brendon Burchard is a 3-time New York Times best-selling author and high-performance coach who has trained over 1.5 million people. He went from struggling with depression and surviving a serious car accident to becoming the world's highest-paid motivation and marketing trainer. Need motivation?
Watch the top 10 of Believe Nation because I love it.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like 9 and 9. For my top 10, top 10, 9 and 9. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Brendon Burchard, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Live, love, matter.
For me, it would be live, love, matter. And it'd be something around those truths. Like, because at the end of your life, what I found, it's hard to give perspective to this, but for 20 years, I've been telling people to find those questions. And no matter what, and I don't know if you know this, but I volunteered in hospices for a decade. I've been with a lot of people in their last moments, weeks and months. I've been around a lot of that in my life because I wanted to see if what I experienced on that car was what other people experienced. In some ways it was. In some ways, at the end, we all wanted to know, did I live and how that was, and did I love and did I matter?
Rule number 2, visualize.
Luckily, I just knew that psychologically, with familiarity, the odds of decreasing anxiety is extremely high.
So it's basically like running a simulation.
Run that simulation, yeah, exactly, like a pilot. Running that simulation over and over and over. If you're a pilot and you run the simulation and it crashes 50 times, the first 10 you're mortified, the last 12 you're on the dials. And so I think just running the pattern over and over visually is really powerful. The world completely underestimates the power of visualization. Completely misutilizes the human power of contemplation. The number one thing I say to my high performance clients is going through the motions is the death of high performance. High performers don't go through the motions.
Yeah, I think
they've contemplated, they're intentional, they're thoughtful, they've practiced, they want it to go well. And the reason most people don't do that is because the pressure. It puts a lot of pressure on yourself, but that's what makes people great.
Rule number 3, bring the joy.
Truth is, life will never be joyous unless you bring the joy. I really feel like that. So many people are waiting to have happiness, and they're waiting to like, well, maybe when my boss loosens up, I'll loosen up, or when she's vulnerable, I'll be vulnerable, or it's like we're waiting for something. I'm like, it's not. Your life will never be what it is going to be unless you bring that thing. For me, I wanted to be, I want to be more bold in my life. That was one of my goals because I wasn't that guy who would just like go out and do the things I do now. So I made gold I was like, bold is an intention. I set it as an alarm on my phone. My alarm would go off 3 times a day and bold would pop up. And I conditioned myself over 7 years to be more bold, which is a big deal for me. And because I wanted that, I had to learn how to bring that. So whatever you want in life, you got to bring it.
Rule number 4, believe.
So camera was super awkward for me. And I was like, okay, but if I want to change the world, guess what is necessary? Communication skills. I'm going to have to learn that. I wasn't raised in a place, I was raised in Montana, where men didn't really communicate, except with looks, glances, and fists, So it was like, if a guy lifted, it wasn't like we're gesturing.
Right, yeah.
Where I'm from, if their hand came up, you were getting punched in the face, man. That was it. So I had to learn emotional intelligence. That's a skill. So communication, emotional intelligence. When I got into our business, I had to learn copywriting. I didn't know what that was. Email marketing. I didn't know that. I had to learn coding. None of that. I knew what it was, but I was always confident. And I think real confidence is your belief in your ability to figure things out. I believe in my ability to figure things out. Give me enough time, energy, resources, study, books, mentors. I will figure out. You want me to go to the moon? I'll figure it out. Even though I have no idea today, I can learn and get mentors. So that's a deep part of my life. High performers have that. They just believe they'll figure things out. That confidence is what ties a lot of their habits and their abilities together.
My friend Evan Carmichael's book, listen, humans are built to serve.
Some people are built to serve the world, others want to serve the 25 people closest to them. But in either case, humans are built to serve. So if you're not happy right now, it's because you're not serving enough. You got to pick up this book because it's so inspiring to remind you that we're all here to contribute, to make a difference, to make an impact, and this is your field guide for that.
Rule number 5, challenge yourself.
We all have to have those things in our business or our brands or the things that we're being productive towards that push us, that challenge us. If you don't have 3 or 4 of those each year that are your form of business or productivity marathons, build them back in. Build in challenging expressions for yourself each year. Build them in. We all need our own marathon each year, whether that's a true running marathon or for me, this is it for me. And I got 8 of these a year that I build in that make me sharp. I don't need to do them. The better use of my time would just be doing more videos on the internets, more social media. But this pushes me. This demands excellence from me.
Rule number 6, express your emotions.
Having people in my life who I can, when I'm on the road for X amount of time, or I'm dealing with a super hard client, or we're rolling out a leadership program to a Fortune 50 company, or I'm doing my first major deal with Oprah Winfrey Network, and I don't know what to do, I am so incredibly fast of asking people what to do. I'm also incredibly fast in sharing how I feel about it. Being like, I feel really awkward about this. I'm unsure. I'm having a lot of self-doubt. How would you deal with it? Like, I'm somebody who expresses his emotions all the time. My frigging tagline is bring the joy. Like, everybody knows that. Why? Because I want to make sure people know we're going to create this energy. Because emotion is not something you have, it is something you generate. Emotion can be an impulse, but feelings is our interpretations of those impulses over a period of time. And I said, I want to feel vibrancy, joy, love, connection, satisfaction, fulfillment in my life. So I'm going to learn to generate those emotions. How do you learn to generate the emotions? You read psychology. How do you learn to generate the emotions? You try. Like, you're just like, we're going to have date night tonight. I'm going to make it a fun night. I'm going to make it a fun night. I'm going to do things to see, can I make people laugh? Can I make people turn their lights on? And you learn to control your own emotions or deal with them in better ways as you decide to be a more mature person.
Rule number 7, set triggers.
I think the challenge that you have when you're good is that you're good.
Yeah.
So
you're like, I'm doing pretty good already.
Yeah, it's easy. The better you get, the more expertise development you get, the easier it is to show up and go through the motions.
Yeah, you don't have to prepare as much. You don't have to practice as much. You just you get results.
Whatever you're going to do is good enough.
Yeah.
But what happens with high performance, it eats at them because they know they got more in the tank. Mm-hmm. And they're like, you know what, that was good, but I could have got another. And it's not that they're dissatisfied. We take on that myth in this book. High performers are not dissatisfied. So people who say never be satisfied, they got to look at why they're saying that, because it's not true, because high performers are satisfied. They're striving satisfied. Doesn't mean they're not striving for the next big thing, want to become better, but they're happy. Mm-hmm. High performers are happier than all of their peers. I mean, by significant, almost double digits. So it's really significant. But I think for me, I need to constantly be reminding myself, like, okay, what is the reason you need to perform really well right now? And I need to be more consistent about that question. So I set up triggers in my life to do that. From every time I stand in line, I have a line trigger, I have door triggers, I have phone triggers.
Smart.
So when I stand in line, I always say, what level am I right now in terms of my presence and energy? Scale 1 to 10. 1, I suck, I'm dead, I'm not even alive, not even feeling grateful. 10, I'm like, I'm vibrant, I'm joyous, here I am. And I rate myself consistently on that, and it just retouches me, like the need. I want to feel it's necessary to be grateful. I want to feel it's necessary to be great. I want to feel it's necessary to do my best, but you don't get that without reminders. So you got to set up alarms or triggers or some, note cards around that, whatever it is it takes for you to have that. But I know for me, Ray's, after the research, I didn't get how, I mean, you're talking from every athlete to every high CEO, this is what they did. And I didn't find this. You'll see all the questions I asked them in the book. I really had to dial into their psyche And when we found that, I was like, is that a thing that they'd really, but they all do. And so it inspired me to another level. I'm like, I'm going to raise my necessity and I'm going to practice everything in the book to get that up a little higher.
Rule number 8, follow the fear.
Maybe not the most popular answer. I go to the fear. How are you going to look silly or stupid? You're not going to ask questions. And you're going to end up in the wrong place. And people are like, why didn't you just ask? Like, follow the fear. If the fear says, I'm scared, I'm going to look stupid by asking questions, like, well, let's flip that. Because if you don't ask questions, you're definitely going to look stupid. You're definitely going to end up in the wrong place.
Yeah.
You're definitely, you're manifesting the very thing you fear by not doing the thing that you're scared and being, you don't want to be vulnerable about.
Yeah.
Rule number 9, allow the good feelings.
I think those who learn to endure hardship, struggle, challenge, difficulty, pain, grief, vulnerability, failure, regret, that's one side of that coin. If you learn to do that, but you also don't, on the other side, learn to allow joy, fulfillment, satisfaction, a sense of, now hold on.
I have to stop you. Allow, is that the word you want to commit to? You said bring.
I'm going to build.
Okay.
I'm building. You have to first allow it, because what most people do is, if on the other side of the coin, it's super etched in, what happens is, even when that impulse comes up to, I like this, oh no, I'm not supposed to like it. So you have a lot of people who are extremely talented at the top levels, who they do endure the pain, and they really like the pain, and they will allow that all the day long. They'll allow that now because they'll tell their brain, this is what's expected. But they also don't let themselves feel good when feeling good is there. This is a real big problem. I mean, if you study like psychoses, a lot of people who really struggle with addictions, eating disorders are super common, who even when they feel that sense of self-love or self-accept, oh, I'm not supposed to feel that. No, you really, there is an element to personal development where you have to allow the good feelings and not push them away because it's like, oh, I don't deserve to feel that. Because a huge part of the world is telling themselves, I don't yet deserve to feel happy. Even though happiness comes up, I shouldn't feel that yet. I'm gonna keep striving. It's not until I get the next 2 million, then I'll let myself feel happy, even though they had that good Monday. And so you have a lot of people who are striving in difficulty, who also have not taught themselves the emotional side of what is called the most important movement in the history of the world in psychology, called positive psychology, kicked off by Marty Seligman, a good friend of mine, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. Without that work of saying, no, we also have to allow ourselves and teach ourselves to flourish, feel satisfaction, feel joy. So I'm 100% with you. And I'm like, the rule is, that's one side of the coin. And the other rule is, make sure you teach yourself to generate the positive emotions. Because what happens is, if you don't teach yourself to generate the positive emotions as well, then what ends up happening is you burn out, or you become a cliche of the person who had it all and never felt fulfilled.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is find your purpose.
Think of your life as being a productively fulfilling life. That productivity is not a time management thing, it's a purpose thing. I don't think of time management when I think of productivity, I think of purpose. I think of who do I want to be? What do I want to contribute? What will be fulfilling for me? Because if you don't have something bigger than just blocks of time, which are important, but there's not something that we together are going towards where it's this set of dreams, where there's personal meaning and there is social contribution, we won't go.
Now I've got a really special bonus clip that I think you're gonna enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I wanna know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and how are you gonna take action on it this week. When you schedule in what day, what time, and what place you're going to take action, you have a 91% chance of actually following through versus just a 35% chance if you just got motivated but never created a specific plan. And when you share your plan publicly and have some accountability, you increase your chances even further of actually following through. So I want to know your single biggest takeaway and your plan of action this week in the comments so I can celebrate you.
I had been doing seminars and coaching for 6-7 years at a really high level. But I was wondering, I'm like, is my stuff right? Is it true? Am I one of these guys who just talk? Like, let me super test it. So we did research. I teamed up with a researcher from University of Pennsylvania's Positive Psychology Department and researchers at UC Santa Barbara. We conducted the world's largest study of high performers of all time. Like no other study has been this big, this comprehensive, this deep dive.
190 countries?
190 countries. Yeah. I mean, millions of data points. And the reason, because no one would spend the money on it, I was like, I'll kick this. Let's figure this out because I want to know that what I'm doing is precise and academically validated. But I only bring that up because the first habit that we discovered of high performers worldwide, and high performers tend to be the top 15% of successful people in whatever field that is. And usually, and that's the broad 190 countries. In the US, it's the top 3%. Hands down, the habit that really changed their trajectory was this habit called seek clarity. Notice it doesn't say get clarity.
Yeah.
High performers seek clarity. I'll give an example.
Yeah, please.
Like with Oprah. I've had the blessing of working with Oprah. If you have a meeting with Oprah, when she walks in that meeting, her first thing she asks is, what's our intention for this meeting? Now, lots of executives walk in meetings, they just start the meetings. She's seeking clarity of what is this about? And you take a underperformer in the work world or at your job, they just bumble in and they're like, okay, let's just do it. High performers go, what is this about? Where does it fit in? What's the priority? They're asking themselves questions constantly and not questions of self-doubt, questions of clarity. Like, who could I be? What's my best self look in this situation? That's a question high performers ask. They want to know, how can I be of most service in this situation? A lot of people just go through the motions. High performers seek clarity. They ask the questions. And because they get clarity and seek clarity throughout the process, they get ahead faster. Because a lot of people and they're good, but a lot of people are just brunt force workers. They'll just go and do it. And they'll just apply force and will and hope and fire and hours at something. But often they're running in the wrong direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
High performers, it's like in direction.
If you want to change your life for free in the next 30 days, check out my training right here below. Or if you want 10 more awesome rules from Brendon Burchard, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy them. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.